Okay, all right, well, we're going to continue, and we've been talking about the vision, the awakening, God's undiscovered treasures, so we're going to continue in that vein. But as we've gone through the different steps, I told you, we talked about where we would be with God, so what God is saying, where we would be with him. And then the second stage was where we would be in our marriages, so we did that the last week or last week and a half or whatever. So today we're going to talk about family. Where God is speaking that we will be with family. Again, the vision is in the back. For those that didn't get a copy of the vision, there is a copy. There's a card in the back that looks like this that has the vision, at least the highlights for the vision, so we can all be praying and being in agreement. And so when it gets to the family section, it actually is listed a little different than I'm going to teach it, but I think it talks about pushing and empowering one another. So we'll do that last. But it talks about healing and renewed friendships. There'll be a lot of healing in family and some renewed friendships in family, because sometimes we lose sight of how to even be friends within a family. And then there'll be a return to agreement. You know, it's very hard for us to achieve what God has purposed for our families if we're not in agreement. And you know, a lot of us men, we fight for agreement, but you don't have to strive for agreement. You just have to really display it. And eventually everybody starts to harmonize with it. You know, it's very hard for people you can't force agreement. This is what I'm basically trying to say. Because forced agreement is not agreement, right? That's slavery. You know, okay, we don't agree, but since I don't have a choice here, or you're getting on my nerves. So, but there's a way you can get agreement without forcing it. And you know, just most of the time people are in agreement with something that they're excited about too. So we talked about writing a vision and making it plain. They can run with it, they read it, but if you really make it plain enough, God gave you a vision that's customized for everybody in your family. So there's a place for everybody in your family. Everybody may be at a certain momentum, they may not see it, but there is a place for it. And if you really spend enough time with God, you'll be able to tap into where everyone fits. But sometimes you don't want to spend that much time. You just want just do what I say do, or go where I say go. But you don't even do that. Yeah, imagine trying to get somebody to just do what you want them to do because you say do it, but you ain't doing. Like right now, if I just said, hey, you need to get up and go to that door right now. Now, get up, Lamar. You'd be like, who you think you're talking to? Pastor, no pastor. I get up when I feel like it. I mean, you just ain't going to, I hope not. Like, you just ain't going, you know, I mean, no one wants to be run or controlled, you know, because that's most of your arguments, right? Like, you ain't my daddy or you ain't my mama, you know, or, you know. The kids even be saying stuff like that. You ain't my daddy. You know, we were talking about that. How kids would be like, I hate you. You know, just try to, you know, power play. You know, but it's hard for people to flow with someone that's operating in lordship. Jesus talked about that. He says, you know, you guys exact lordship over the people. He says, but if those that are great should be servants. You should be able to lead and not lord. So we're going to talk about a little bit of that, but let's get to healing and renewed friendship. So I shared this a little bit last week, but I want to bring it back out this week. I was talking about marriage and how we have to get back to interaction, proper interaction, and intercession. Because the temptation is to use our interaction time, you know, to fix people, you know, because you figure your mouth has more ability to change somebody than your ability to pray to God, right? So up to this point, everybody's tried that, right? You do a lot of this because you think that's, you know, your urgency and what you're worried about or your worst case scenario, and you expressing it is going to really change that person, right? Y'all know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Oh, y'all know what I'm talking about because y'all be doing it. So come on now. I mean, I know y'all thinking like, oh God, do we got to talk about this right now? But yes, we do. So we talked about last week how to use your interaction time for friendship. So we talked about marriage, but even in family, you know, you'll find with your something I had to learn with my son, you know, because there's levels. There's a time when you're in control, right? Like parents are, you know, there's a stage where you're in control, but you know you're not in control forever. You think you are, but you're not, right? But then there's a time when you have influence. So you don't have control, but kids are almost like kind of trying to roll because you're the parent. So even if they seem rebellious, they do care what you say. So you shift from control, you're gonna do what I say do, to influence. I recommend this, but it's kind of like a congestion. Like, you can do what you want to do, but I think you need to be doing this, and you give them like 35 different reasons why they should. But then there's a point of release where they're at an age, even if they're maybe still irresponsible, but they're at an age where you gotta let them trip and fall and bust their head and learn that I see what you're saying, right? So you have control, you have influence, and you have release, but some of us wanna live in control. So now the interaction that was healthy is now unhealthy. Now it's striving. Now it's like remember I said, like, if you're in a relationship with your spouse, when they call your name, it shouldn't be, oh man, what do you want now? Well, that happens in family too, right? Like when you open your mouth to call someone's name, they're like, again? What? Or every time you say something, it's like, last I checked, I got a brain. Like, I can think. Could you give me an opportunity to think at least? Give me a shot to mess up one time? You know how because now I know my, stop. I know my, me and my wife was just talking about this yesterday, and I remember my son, he shifted to a certain age, so her thing was like, I just gotta, okay, what you wanna do is you wanna do this. Give me the number, let me call. I was like, babe, you're gonna have to let him make the choices. And I would watch him from afar, and he'd be like, Ma, I know how to do it. Really what he was saying was, I'm a man now. Now, he wasn't a full-fledged, but he wanted to say, like, could you give me a chance? Like you taught me, like, I've been hearing this for the last 17 years. Right, so could I get a chance to see if it really works? So that's kind of how family flow. My grandson like that, he's 6. Or is he 8? Is he? Chanel is 9. He's 7. He just turned 7, 31st. All right, so he wanted to learn how to ride the bike. I told you want to learn how to ride a bike. The training wheels broke. But he said, I want to ride the bike. And they was like, no, I can do it. No, let's wait till we fix the training wheels. Everybody went in the house. He snuck outside, grabbed that bike, and started riding. No one never taught him. But he wanted to do it. And I remember the first time I took him to a playground by myself. And when you're taking it, it's my grandchild, but it's not my child. So I'm all confident most of the time, but I was like, I don't want to break the baby. I don't want to allow him to do nothing and the parents go, I don't think we need to let him go with grandpa, because grandpa don't have like parental instincts. So he was climbing, and I don't know why they make these things this way, but stairs will normally have closure to them. Like stairs have, you go up a stair, you're not gonna go through the stairs, right? For most of us, like we go upstairs, but on the playgrounds, it's these big gaps. Not only where you can go through, but you can go through and bust your head, because it's not big enough where you can just fall all the way through. Like, you're gonna have to hit your head to go through. So, but he's climbing this thing like, and I'm like, is this the part where I'm supposed to, like, as a grandparent, like jump in, stop him, help him? But then something in me was like, but he believed he can do it, so I don't wanna take away his adventure, but at the same time, I don't wanna be the grandparent that broke the baby. But I had to let him do it. So he got up. I was all worried. Then he got up, but he's so short. He was so short. He was like 2 or 3 at a time. He couldn't get down by himself. Well, I didn't think. So he's trying to get down, and the whole time I'm like, you're supposed to jump in and help him. But this dude was hanging, and his feet couldn't go down. I mean, it was like a long distance. He was just like hanging. And I was like, am I supposed to like catch him? He jumped. And then he got on some spider web thing. He climbed all the way to the top. And the whole time I was like, this is not gonna be good, because if he falls from there, I'm definitely gonna be like the worst grandparent in the world. Then he climbs back down, but there's a point where, because he jumped up to get up there, so that means you can't just step down. So I was like, now how this dude gonna get down? Sure enough, I don't know how he do it, but he got down. And so I felt good, like, see, I allowed him, he believed he could do something, I gave him the shot. But I also was like, how far do you go with this thing? You know what I'm saying? Because he can really do something to hurt him. Listen, we have these walls in the house in Ohio. This guy, if you come into the foyer is real high. He climbed all the way to the top. Put his feet out like, you know how you go like this to the side and just went up. We have a picture of it. Like I said, this, but it's something about that. Like you don't want to shut that down. If somebody believed they could do something, you don't want to shut that down. But see, control would be, you can hurt yourself. That is a possibility. But do you want them to know that? In every situation. Because they will not, now because you place those limits on yourself, so they live out of the same limits. Right? So again, if we use interaction, one, we got to hear from God, because it took God, because I sure thought I was supposed to jump in every time. Like, because I don't know what the kid, I didn't know what he could do. But it's the same thing as we grow. Like my son got to a point where he was doing crazy stuff. Like crazy, stupid. And so I prayed first. And then when I talked to him, because my first conversation, I thought it was going to be, I don't want to use that word right now. What can I say? Okay, brother, you crazy. That's not what I was thinking, but brother, you crazy, right? And, but my conversation went like this. I said, I'm not worried about you. I said, because I prayed for you. I said, I went through a process. I should be dead, but I'm living for God. Who's to say what your process is and what testimony God is setting up for you to minister to people? So make your choices and learn from your process, but I'm praying for you. So I had to allow him to grow and to learn through his process as opposed to trying to control every step along the way. Because I'm not affording him the same rights that I had. Okay, so my interaction became friendship. One time he was smoking something he wasn't supposed to smoke. Now my normal was like, fool, you crazy? I would have said something besides that, but I don't curse, but I have some very catchy words to make you know I'm about business. So, but I didn't do that. I said, all right, well, see, remember we said friendship is for what? Like interview. This is my opportunity to be a friend with my son. So I said, talk to me. It was Black and Miles or something. I said, you smoking Black and Miles? I said, you may have a revelation I don't have. Maybe I'm just old and outdated. Back when I'm coming up smoking Thai stick, Black and Miles, cool filter, whatever it is, it's still poison. But maybe they changed it. Maybe it's empowering right now. So I said, just educate me. You may be getting something I don't know. Talk to me. What you getting out of this? He said, actually, Dad, nothing. He said, I shouldn't even be doing it. And we ended up having a transparent conversation about some things that was hurting him and stuff like that, because my approach was to be a friend, not to fix him. So we miss out on friendship when we're using our interaction time to fix people. And days and years go by with offense and people not speaking. Now, I'm talking family here. I know I talked about marriage last week, where you could be enjoying your friendship. Yes, you don't like everything you see. I had to go to New Jersey one time. God said, okay, you going to this reunion. It was a mini reunion. He said, don't be the sin police. I said, well, what do you mean? He said, Keith, you know what I mean. You're going to be trying to get on everybody smoking, drinking, or whatever. He said, you're throwing your little knife. It's going to be subtle, but it's still going to be, you won't have any time where you'll enjoy your family. He said, represent me, but be a friend to them. So more people talked to me and was open to what I had to say during that time than any other time before. Everybody else was afraid. I have a family member now is afraid to come around because she thinks I'm going to be the sin police.